Connecting with the wisdom field. How do we tune into universal wisdom? It begins by learning to listen beyond the mind. Silence the noise or thoughts, judgments, and preconceptions that block access to this wisdom. Practicing stillness and presence allows clarity to emerge. The wisdom of this family soul cards help you to, in stillness, connect with your deeper self and let that which emerges from you in that moment access your consciousness. It's asking without forcing. Instead of demanding answers, we learn to ask open-ended questions that let the field respond in its own time. Recognize the unseen. The systemic field communicates through feelings, images, and unexpected insights. Trusting these impressions is key. By cultivating awareness, we move from analyzing situations to sensing what truly wants to unfold. Connecting with the wisdom field. How do we tune into universal wisdom? It begins by learning to listen beyond the mind, not with effort, but with openness. Universal wisdom is not something we grasp. It is something we attune to, like tuning a radio to its right frequency. Question is, how do we shift from intellectual analysis to true connection? Let's explore why connecting with the wisdom field matters, how we can cultivate this connection and what emerges when we do, and what changes if we fully trust it. Why does connection with the wisdom field matter? When we rely solely on our thoughts and logic, we see only the surface of things. Our beliefs, fears, and conditioning shape our perception, often keeping us trapped in habitual patterns. Look at this example. A healer working with a client experiencing repeated relationship failures might analyze attachment styles, personal history, and behavioral patterns. But what if the true reason lies beyond personal psychology? What if it's a systemic issue, an unseen loyalty to a forgotten ancestor who died heartbroken, echoing through generations? By connecting with the wisdom field, we step beyond surface level explanations and open ourselves to the deeper truths that want to be seen. We shift from seeking answers to receiving insights. It's a completely different energy. We move beyond the need for control and into a state of trust. We allow transformation to happen organically without force. So, let's look at the three key principles of connecting with universal wisdom. Silence the noise. The greatest barrier to universal wisdom is our internal mental chatter. Our thoughts, judgments, and expectations act like static, blocking the subtle humans of the field. To connect, we must cultivate stillness. Take this example. A systemic coach enters a session with a clear agenda, expecting the client to work on career struggles. But when they pause, listen, and sense beyond the obvious, they feel a deep sadness, one the client hasn't mentioned. And by honoring this unspoken energy, the session moves in an entirely different and more profound direction. So I invite you to practice this. Before making decisions or offering guidance, take a moment of silence. Breathe and allow space for something deeper to arise. Ask without forcing. Universal wisdom does not respond to demands. If we approach the field with a fixed expectation of what the answer should be, we limit what can emerge. Instead, we must ask open-ended questions and allow the response to arrive in its own time and in its own way. Look at this example. A facilitator preparing for a constellation session wonders, what is the issue that truly wants to be seen? Instead of assuming the problem is financial, relational, or professional, they hold the question lightly and they allow the field to reveal the hidden movement. Here's a practice you may consider. Instead of seeking instant solutions, ask open-ended questions such as, what does life want to show me right now? What am I not seeing? Where does movement want to happen? That's powerful. Where does movement want to happen? Recognize the unseen. Universal wisdom communicates in ways the rational mind does not expect. The systemic field speaks through sensations, symbols, and synchronicities. What seems random may hold deep meaning. Trusting these impressions is key. Take this example. A healer working with a client suddenly notices a strong pressure in their chest, a sensation unrelated to their own emotions. They ask the client about this area, and the client reveals that a grandfather died of a heart condition, carrying deep grief. By trusting what arises, they follow the wisdom of the field rather than forcing an intellectual approach. Here's a practice you may want to start. Pay attention to bodily sensations, recurring symbols, and coincidences that arise in sessions. They may be key to deeper truth. What happens when we connect with universal wisdom? When we tune in, we begin to see life differently. We realize that answers don't come from effort, but from openness. We witness patterns and truths emerging naturally. And we develop a deep trust in the flow of life rather than forcing solutions. Look at this example. A therapist struggling to help a client release old trauma suddenly remembers a story from their own family history. Though seemingly unrelated, they mention it in a passing, and the client has a profound realization that shifts their entire perspective. The field guides us to exactly what is needed when we allow it. That's the key. Allow it. What if we fully trusted this connection? What if the wisdom you need is already present? If only you slowed down to receive it? What if the obstacles you face are not blocks, but invitations to shift into deeper alignment? What if you stopped searching for answers and instead let them reveal themselves? Just imagine moving through life with clarity, flow, and trust, and knowing that you don't have to figure everything out because the field is always communicating. By cultivating awareness, we move from analyzing situations to sensing what truly wants to unfold. The wisdom field is always present, but to hear it, we must become still. Let go of effort, open to knowing, and trust what arises. Are you ready to step into a new way of perceiving? Insight is the bridge between the unseen and the known. Let it find you. Universal wisdom is speaking. Are you listening?